Start talking though, so it's like, But hey, welcome back. It's been a while since we all seen you guys. I mean, it's been quite a while actually, in between Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and now Loki has begun. We did not get together for Loki #1, so we're going to combine the 2 episodes today. And this is our reaction. I just knocked my headphones out, so I can't hear anything. But here we go. Look at this. Boom. Back, baby, back. Guys, I finished. I'm gonna give you my whole little synopsis on this. There's 2 things that are happening with this show for me. One, I've come to realize I'm sick of fucking time travel. I'm done.
What?
Yeah, it's dude. Every single freaking thing has something to do with time travel. It's the #1 reason I stopped watching Star Trek, because every time those guys wrote themselves into an issue, they did some kind of time travel thing to get themselves out of it. So I'm a little over it,
This is a Kenric truth bomb that I agree with, by the way.
Yeah,
100%. More on that later.
2, I fell asleep multiple times through both episodes and have to wake back up and rewind it and to keep watching it, and then fell asleep and then woke back up, rewound it. It took me 2 hours to get through episode 2. Now, that being said, I like both of them. I don't like it as much as I loved Wanda and Falcon, but I do like it, and I still can love it near the end, because who knows, it might get better and better and better, because Tom Hiddleston's amazing. But that's where I'm at today. Casey, where are you at?
So I really enjoyed both of them so far. I love time travel stuff, so like that doesn't bother me.
I love Doctor Who, so
yeah, it's my jam.
Doctor Who's different,
but
if different means not as good, I agree.
Yeah. One thing that I really appreciate is the dialogue on the show. We were talking about the snappy banter on in the thick of it, but it kind of the banter between Loki and the other guys on the Loki show is really, really, really well done. Especially
Casey, mate. Sorry, real quick. I wish they called it the Loki Show. That would be such a much better title than Loki. It should be fucking called the Loki Show. Don't you
the
think?
Loki Show is
the Loki Show.
A live studio audience.
Yeah.
Great.
That's it. It's Friday. It's 9 p.m. It's time for the Loki Show. That's what we're going to call this from fucking now on, the Loki Show. Sorry, mate. Please carry on.
But no, I really like how they write him, especially given everybody else has contemporary dialogue for the most part. But Loki's, on the other hand, is very Shakespearean and very emotive. It impresses me anytime something's written cool like that. So anyway, that's all I got so far.
I'm waiting. I want to hear the John Horsley III experience.
I'll start by saying I agree with Kenric about time travel. I love time travel stories. I don't like when time travel is used to get out of a situation. I think that's cheap writing. I don't think Loki's doing that. Loki's just still about time travel, so it's okay with me. What pissed me off most about this show is in season 2 when Loki actually gets to go do stuff. Episode 1 and 2, when he actually gets to go in the time. He doesn't use his magic. Why wouldn't Loki use his magic besides drying his clothes in episode 2 and grabbing a Roomba in episode 2? Why is it the only magic he does at all? That doesn't make any sense of why the god of mischief, when going out and he's trying to trick them, wouldn't do something else, like make a duplicate of himself that's outside to make them actually think that the other Loki's outside. It seemed like they just missed a step on that. And I feel like the first 2 episodes, they spent too much time in the timekeepers area, which was not at all that much interesting. I felt they should have spent more time doing stuff or learning stuff about what's going on. But I did enjoy them. I just had some holdbacks of okay, I wish this would move a little faster. I wish we'd have more things that were going on besides just, Owen Wilson and Loki talking.
Even though I fell asleep, I felt like they're too short. There needs to be another 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And the one thing that Marvel...
Is that because you can get 15 more minutes quality sleep, Kenric?
Right, that's right. No, and Marvel needs to understand, you don't have to end and they did this on I think every episode of Winter Soldier and Wanda. You do not have to end every episode on a cliffhanger. It is not needed. At times, it just bugs the shit out of you. It's like, dude, can you, like him going through the time to at the end of episode 2, whatever, he goes to the door, right? And as they're running towards him, he leaves. You could have shown the next scene of where he went, and it would have been fine. It's not like anybody's going to not show up for episode 3, you know? But it's just like, oh, Jesus Christ. Now I got to wait just to know where he's at. It's starting to get that kind of cliffhanger storytelling is getting really old. And it's because it's all the time, you know? It's one thing when you do it like in the 80s, storytelling on TV was masterful because you would have like Magnum PI, you would have complete stories through each episode with a arcing story over the whole season, right? And you might get a cliffhanger at the end of the season when they know they're going to start up again the next season. That was masterful. When you get a cliffhanger on every episode, it starts to become, what's the word I'm looking for? It just starts to become annoying, you know? And it starts to become like, why can't you give me like that episode? Like episode 1 was better than episode 2 because episode 1 felt like a complete story. Episode 2 left me halfway through the chapter, and that drives me insane.
It's half a story.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree.
What you described earlier, Kenric, like if it would have showed where he was going after he went through that door, that makes me so much think of like Quantum Leap.
Yeah.
Which is a great show.
Oh boy.
Which is actually a much better show than Loki, the Loki show, by the way. Quantum Leap's fucking awesome. The last season, maybe not so much, but you know, Quantum Leap is a great show.
Quantum Leap was a great show. Scott Bakula and what's his name? The guy. God.
Yeah, fucking Dean.
He's a child
mate.
actor.
He's amazing. He's amazing.
There's
fucking from Blue Velvet. Shit, what's his name?
Yeah, I can't. He's in a
Ziggy.
Do you know he's a child actor and he's in Anchors Away with Frank Sinatra and Gene Kelly?
Yep.
Dean Stockwell. That's
it.
Is he still kicking?
Brilliant. He's still alive.
Wow.
I think. Fuck, I hope he is. Now I might have cursed him now. I might be long dead.
Because a lot of those child actors didn't make it out of that.
No, exactly. And the thing is, he's got quite a ravaged appearance in later life. So if you look at him in Anchors Away, he's angelic. Yeah. And he was in a really famous fantasy movie, which I'd recommend everybody watch, called The Boy with the Green Hair. Yeah. Okay.
I've seen that. Yes. He's
fucking amazing. Yeah. And he's that kid. He's the boy with the green hair. But in later life, he looked very dissolute and ravaged, and he's still alive. He's 85 now, but he lent into that, and he always plays these fucking sleazy characters. Later on, he's in a lot of David Lynch films, and he has this very fucking sleazy, unpleasant energy to him. So completely different from the angelic kid that he was. But he's a big part of why Quantum Leap works. Bakula and him together are amazing. That show is fucking way ahead of its time. It's really, really good.
Oh yeah,
it was good. So, what are your thoughts, Mr. Sumner, on the Loki show?
The Loki show.
Right. Tom Hiddleston.
So my take on the Loki show, and I'll try and be as concise as possible, is that I want to take a step back to talking about the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which we all loved, right? And was very, very popular, and a lot of people loved. But I did notice in the hinterland between when we last recorded and now, there are some people who didn't rate that show. Not the majority of people, but I would say, like, let's say it has an 85% approval rating. The 15% of people who didn't like it really don't like it. Yeah. It's not like WandaVision where it's basically universal approval and people either love it or they think it's good. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it's like 85% of people love it, but 15% of people really don't like it. And one of those people who doesn't like it, who is a very close friend of mine who will never watch this show, he's called Paddy Horton, and he used to be the managing director of Empire magazine for many years. Yeah. Say that again, mate.
Somebody's hitting their microphone.
It's Casey, I'm sure.
I bet it's me. Sorry. But it's me. I apologize about that.
Or is if you're moving your desk or something, maybe that's
Yeah. I think I'm getting so agitated that my leg is banging on the side of my desk. And that's what you're hearing. So I'm going to stop my leg banging. I could be masturbating out of camera. But here's one hand. Here's the other. Why am I not showing you both hands at once? There could be a bit of business that I'm trying to do here.
On my nose.
Yeah.
If this is what you're masturbating about, you got some issues, man. But
You
do you. You do you.
So this you'll see shortly what's going on. I guarantee you it all will be explained shortly. Yeah. So this friend of mine, Paddy Horton, managing director of Empire, now got a much more senior publishing job. I was talking to him about Falcon the Winter Soldier, and he loved WandaVision. And he was like, "Oh man, Falcon the Winter Soldier, yeah, it wasn't for me. It's so fucking worthy. Worthy is not a word I'd applied to it, and it's so po-faced." I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about? That's nonsense. It's Falcon the Winter Soldier thus far has been my favorite, Disney Plus Marvel show. I mean, I loved WandaVision, but I loved Falcon the Winter Soldier. That really got me here, right?" So my experience with so there are people who really don't like Falcon the Winter Soldier. I thought, and after deliberating for 6 weeks, I've come to the opinion that all those people who don't like Falcon the Winter Soldier are fucking wrong. You're fucking wrong, Paddy Horton, and every other fucking cunt who thinks the way that you do. Fucking dead wrong. And I'm using cunt in an English way, not in a pejorative American superpowered version of the word bitch way, by the way. I would never do that. I would never use any term that demeans females. I hate that stuff. But fucking people who don't like Falcon the Winter Soldier, you've got it wrong. You're just not seeing the truth of it. However, so when it comes to the Loki show, right, filmed in front of a live studio audience, I have thus far, despite the fact that I love Tom Hiddleston's performance as Loki, love it, and I love him as a performer and think he is hugely talented, and I've seen maybe 95% of the things he's ever been in, right from when he was in the TV series Wallander, right, as a supporting actor. I've seen him on stage in Coriolanus. He's fucking awesome. I love that guy, and his performance as Loki is still incredibly proficient. Thus far, I've actually found the show really rather boring and underwhelming. Yeah. And for me, I had weekly excitement about WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but I too have had the Kenric Regan experience of trying to stay awake during the Loki show. And the Loki show, even though the episodes are both 40 minutes long, it's probably taken me 3 hours to watch them both, because I too have been falling asleep while it was on. Now, admittedly, I'm watching it fairly early in the morning as it goes live. Yeah. You know what I mean? When I'm normally, obviously watching porn channels or whatever, you know what I mean? As I'm easing myself into my day. But I found it to be supremely underwhelming. And then the other interesting thing about that is it's had an amazingly positive response from everybody. And so it's had incredible numbers. It's the most successful out of the 3 shows so far, which is to be expected, because I think people are tuning in and going, holy fuck, these shows are really good. And they come back and watch them again. So that's good. And everybody loves Tom Hiddleston's performance, which is highly proficient. Yeah. But people love it, both from a numbers perspective, but from a critical perspective. If you look at everybody who's written about the show and you look at its numbers on Rotten Tomatoes, all that kind of stuff, it's like people fucking love it. I mean, they absolutely love it. And this is one of those moments where I'm thinking people, the generic people across the globe, they might be wrong. I might be the Patrick Horton now, where I'm swimming upstream, because I'm like, well, it's not bad, but it's underwhelming for me. Now, maybe I've just got used to the tricks of the Marvel Universe. Well, I'm really hoping not, because if that's the case, then I think I'm going to start enjoying things a lot less. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But here's the business I was going to go on about and see if I can make this work. So this is why I kept on banging into my microphone. My mic drop moment. Here's my microphone, right? My mic. Yeah, there we go. It worked. My mic drop moment. There we go. Can I have a round of applause for that, lads? Because I was rehearsing that before we started. Do you know what I mean? Thank you. My mic drop moment is that I interviewed Emilia Clarke 2 days ago. right? And for those of you who don't know, I know you guys know, and probably everybody knows, probably more than I do, but she's star of Game of Thrones and all that kind of stuff. Hugely engaging, extremely pleasant experience. She's great because she's just created her own comic book, MOM, right? Mother of Madness, which is amazing, and it's coming out from Image Comics this month, first issue, and I can't recommend it highly enough. And I interviewed her for Forbidden Planet TV on YouTube. That interview goes live this week if anybody wants to check it out. But the point of this is really that one of the things we chatted about was she's going to be in Secret Invasion, right? She's been cast in Secret Invasion with Sam Jackson, although she couldn't talk about it and she didn't name the show. But, I knew what it was she was talking about. But she was saying about, oh my God, have you seen Loki? She fucking loved Loki. She loved it. Yeah. And of course, I was completely dishonest. I didn't go, no, actually, I find it hugely underwhelming. I was like, brilliant. Tom Hiddleston's the man. Do you know what I mean? I didn't lie per se. I just omitted the things that I thought that, were negative. You know what I mean? And his performance is brilliant. But she fucking loved it. But she is emblematic and she's a very clever person. Yeah, she's a beautiful, charismatic actor, but she's actually super brainy, very, very good to talk to, intelligent person, right? Self-deprecating, as you know, if you've ever seen any of her interviews. She was just great. But she fucking loved the Loki show. So that's left me thinking, am I wrong about this? Have I just got Marvel fatigue? And
I mean, I think all four of us kind of said the same thing here.
Yeah.
No, Casey loved it.
Yeah. The lone, the lone standout.
The three that matter here.
Well, I think I could still love the show eventually as it progresses.
I didn't hate it. I mean, I enjoyed it. I just wanted. I expected more out of it with it being Loki. I expected more mischief, more. It feels kind of, even though it's a time travel show, it feels very linear. It feels very static. Yeah. There's no like, of course it's Lady Loki at the end of episode 2, right? Of course the Loki that got away is Lady Loki. Like, of course that's what I mean. There's no surprises yet, and nothing's. There's no the magic is so underwhelming. I expect with Loki there'd be way more magic, way more things happening, and it just there's even their twists haven't been twists. It hasn't been enough in it to be like, oh yeah, this is a great Loki show. I mean, Tom Hiddleston is fantastic. Owen Wilson is wonderful at playing Owen Wilson. And, I just wish there was more leaning into the fact that they're using the God of Mischief. So let's make him the God of Mischief, not, Tom Hiddleston in a suit.
Yeah.
Could I mention the one thing that I think is extremely well done, which is deep comics lore, right? That I was really, really impressed with. And that's that. And this is what I truly do love about the show. I do love Tom Hiddleston's performance. I've got an inexhaustible ability to watch him playing Loki because I don't get bored of it. Don't get bored of it. And his turbo what charisma. And by the way, a lot of female comic book fans of my acquaintance of varying ages from, shall we say, 16 to 50, fucking loved that scene where he finds himself like topless without his clothes. And I saw so many of them going, man, I really love the script on this new Loki show, and then posting a picture of Tom Hiddleston kind of naked to the waist. And they go, yeah, that script is so interesting. I'm definitely going to watch every episode, blah, blah, blah. And it was all female fans. And so, by the way, if you're watching this, Mercedes Escobedo, Kelsey Macias, I'm looking at you specifically. The head buyer for Box Lunch, the Box Lunch stores, and a lady who was a head buyer for Hot Topic but works for Mad Engine now. They were having an extensive dialogue about how well written the scene was with topless like Loki. So, but what I genuinely do love about this show is they have cast Owen Wilson playing Mobius. B, Owen Wilson's remit in playing Mobius was play Owen Wilson. C, I love the idea of those conversations where they've gone round in circles at Marvel HQ going, what we really need is somebody to do Owen Wilson. Don't you think Owen Wilson, Mobius would be fantastic? They're like, who could we get to play Owen Wilson? And somebody's gone, why don't we just call Owen Wilson? And they've called him up and he's gone, I can't do his voice, but his very unique voice going, yeah, sure, I'll do it. Yeah, with his pursed lips and his weird nose. Sorry, Kenric, go.
I'm just gonna say, you know what I love about the Agent Mobius? I had to look him up because I wasn't.
Oh, wait a minute, mate. I'm going to say this just in case.
No, I've been waiting. I looked this up. I've been waiting. all
Yeah, you are going to say what you've jumped into the overarching conclusion of what I thought was brilliant without looking it up, just based on my own personal knowledge. I knew the moment I saw him what you're about to say. So I just want to say I'm going to let Kenric go with this, but what Kenric's about to say is this is exactly my point. This is what's brilliant about it.
Well,
go.
Maybe not though. It might be something different because the way you just described it.
Too much pressure. Too much pressure.
You know,
go, Kenric, go. Get done, buddy.
What I loved is when I looked him up, the cool thing about Agent Mobius is that they draw him to look like Mark Gruenwald.
This is it.
And Tom DeFalco. And now they change him up all the time to look like Marvel writers.
Yeah.
So he has looked, and his look has changed to be Marvel writers throughout his whole time in the Marvel universe, which is hilarious. And I don't know of any other character that they do this with.
And here's the thing: Mobius really is Mark Gruenwald because it's the 80s mustache.
Yeah.
But so it's brilliant because Mark Gruenwald died young, right?
Yeah.
And was the writer of Captain America for a decade. Yeah. And I have to say, and he's much loved within the business. If you ever speak to any Marvel, if you speak to Fabian Nicieza, you speak to Carl Potts, speak to Tom DeFalco, they fucking all loved Mark Gruenwald. Mark Gruenwald must have been a beautiful human being because everybody loves him, right? You know what I mean? He's the comic book equivalent of any one of the four of us. Just somebody who's universally loved, who walks through the world, you know, getting like approbation and a round of applause, you know. Everybody loves Gruenwald, right? But what they've done that's brilliant is they've jammed together the first two iterations of Mobius. They've kind of made him look like Mark Gruenwald and Tom DeFalco at the same time. So the mustache is Gruenwald and the hair is Tom DeFalco. Yeah. And it's absolutely, that was the thing. The minute I saw it, I was like, that is brilliant. That is an absolute deep Marvel cut. I would still prefer Mark Gruenwald, who contributed so much to the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, for his estate to be getting paid by Marvel Productions.
Oh, yeah.
And to have Mobius look like, you know, any one of us, right? But in a world where they're not going to fucking pay these guys what they're worth or what they're owed, actually doing tributes to them like this, because you bet your life it's not down to the people making the shows that these guys aren't being remunerated. It's down to the faceless suits, aka corporate bastards at Disney, not to pay them, right? So the fact that they're doing everything they can to recognise this and to put these Easter eggs in, I think is brilliant. And Kenric, the fact that you went away and looked that up and thought, why has he got this look? You know, anybody who goes down that rabbit hole is going to find out this piece of information. And I think that's a beautiful thing.
It's interesting. It's super interesting. And I got to say, though, Owen being Owen is awesome.
Yeah, right on.
Him and Tom play great off of each other.
Correct.
You know, Owen Wilson is so good at his craft and you could say, well, he just plays Owen Wilson. Yeah, but he's that guy that you want to be friends with. You know what I mean? You want to be friends with Owen Wilson and that's what was so sad when you heard about him a couple years ago and he had the deep depression and he went through quite a few things, and seeing him bounce back and being in this and seeing him out and about is it's awesome.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. One actor that I was also impressed with on the show was Wunmi Masaku, and I'm terrible at names. I may have just destroyed it. She was also in Lovecraft Country. She played Ruby Baptiste. She is one of the agents for. Yeah.
In Lovecraft Country, yeah.
She was one of the agents for the TVA, which every time I see that on the show, I think Tennessee Valley Authority, because that was one of the big New Deal programs that was set up, and it basically controlled all the water, hydroelectric dams, and power all throughout the Southeast. Oh. And there's all kinds of TVA signs and shit, even though it's not really active where I'm at anymore because they split it up. Anyway. I think Tennessee Valley Authority every time I see TVA.
That's hilarious. You know, another thing
it's fucking brilliant. I love that.
Is in the first episode, which was classic, was Loki, of course, being Loki, and was able to get the shock collar thing and put it on her, and then thing, and then that
was good slapstick.
That was great slapstick.
Yeah,
but her attitude towards him, you'd think she'd be more cautious about him than she is. She still plays like, I'm the authority. I'm going to kick the shit out of you no matter, and I'm going to downgrade you anytime I want. At some point, I get that you want to try to reestablish yourself, but he already proven to be able to better her in an extreme situation. And she still has this weird attitude. I want to see character growth, not the same thing.
Right. Talking about like,
she's great. Okay, the writing that's the writing.
I think it's because they exist outside of time and space. They have like a very godlike kind of complex, even when dealing with gods themselves. They're like, fuck you. You don't even know what exists outside of your own sphere.
Yeah.
And when you deal with truly powerful people in the real world, like say the Rupert Murdochs, the Jeff Bezoses, those kind of people, and they have a setback and they get embarrassed, the thing that unites them all is they don't give a fuck. It doesn't stop them. They don't become incredibly self-reflective, going, oh shit, I got my ass handed to me, I look like an idiot. They don't stop for a second. They just keep on moving forward. Such is their lack of empathy and their belief in their own power. And once you translate that to these people who work for the TVA, it's the same fucking thing. You know, it's like they've had a millennia, you know, an infinite amount of non-time believing in their ability to deal with anything. Just because they have a setback, it's not going to impair them. I think that's where it comes from, because they're not human beings, you know, in any real sense. They're all constructs.
Just nailed it, Sumner, without even... I think you just nailed it. I think at the end of this season, it's going to be Loki kind of bringing them back down to earth, so to speak, on their ego and their power trip, and understanding the thing, because what they're doing, he kind of talks about that. So there's no free will. Everything's predetermined, you know, and Owen and Agent Mobius, you could tell he was very uncomfortable with that line of thinking and that line of conversation, you know, because that's the thing that goes through when I'm watching the show. That's the thing that goes through my head is, okay, because one of things, I don't believe in any of that kind of, you're destined for this bullshit. You know what I mean? Sometimes that bugs the shit out of me when I'm watching a show and it has this, you're destined for this, you're predetermined for this, because, you know, and that's, and on the point.
What's the point of anything at that point?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm not a believer in destiny. I believe in many things, but destiny isn't one of them. Concept of preordained destiny is fucking bollocks. The world isn't like that.
Because this is what I tell people. I'm not religious, right? But I believe that it helps a lot of people on having faith and having something to believe in that makes them feel better. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
You know, but I always tell people that like that want to argue with people that have faith. You know what I mean? They just want to argue. Well, if God's real, why does he let all this murder and all this mayhem happen? And my response to that is always look, if you believe in God, then the one gift he gave to the human beings is free will. They cannot intervene, because then they take that free gift, that gift of free will away. So that's why you get these tragedies. That's why things happen the way they happen. And if you're writing and if you believe in this stuff that's predestiny and all this bullshit, what's the point of anything? Because your life doesn't matter. I wouldn't even try. I'd just stay in bed all day because fuck, what's the point?
Well, like the line in the show about when Loki mentions the Avengers going back in time, and he says to stop him, but really they were trying to stop Thanos. And they're like, oh, well, that was meant to be. And it's like, well, hold on. Like, you talk about all this time stuff. So if it was meant to be to go back in time, then why did the timeline even let it happen in the first place? If the timeline was just meant to be rewritten. And the whole thing about the forks off is like, how are they going to explain Gamora or Captain America going back in time over and over again? Like, there's a lot of holes from Endgame that need to be answered about their whole timekeeper thing. Haven't answered yet.
I think the thing is, the reason I'm personally so bored of time travel within fiction is it's an endlessly movable feast of like the rules and the logic behind it can constantly be rewritten and challenged. So that means that basically it just leads to a lot of lazy writing in my eyes, even from great writers who write about it, because the concept of time travel is so malleable because it's not a real thing that's rooted in the real physical universe. Like faster than light travel, by the way, which is another pet hate of mine. And it's just like, I don't mind in Star Trek if it's just assumed that warp speed is faster. Once they spend time in the writer's room trying to explain it, it's like, fuck off. That's nonsense. It doesn't actually hold it. It's like, this is why I've got a problem with Interstellar. In many ways, it's a great film, but it falls apart with this central MacGuffin about, discovering how to make faster than light travel work, which, hey, presto, they don't in fact bother explaining how that works. Why is that? Because it doesn't work, because it's actually not fucking possible. Like time travel, it'll never happen. Like zombies, they will never happen. And the thing is, people in modern society are so sucked into contemporary entertainment, spend hours jerking themselves off about the rules of time travel, the rules of faster than light travel, the rules of zombie existence, the rules of superpowers. I'm telling you right now, these 4 things are never going to fucking happen. So there's no point in ever trying to explain them. If people start to be mutated by things that happen in contemporary society, what will happen is they'll wake up one day with 2 dicks or fucking boils on their neck. They won't be able to fly or see through fucking buildings or, have adamantium claws appear. That's never going to happen to anyone ever. So we need to orient it. And it kind of leads to, I think, a lot of lazy storytelling. Because prior to science fiction, fantasy and superhero culture really embedding itself, everybody tried to explain the narrative within the context of the modern current world, right? And it actually led writers to be, to my mind, far more interesting and inventive. Because once you start, here are the basic rules of time travel. The one thing about time travel within the Marvel universe that has really rung true for me is when Scott Lang goes, in Avengers Endgame, hang on, so Back to the Future is just a bunch of bullshit. Yes, exactly. It's all fucking bollocks. And what's great about Endgame is they recognize the fact that all they're doing is giving their one version of how time travel works. And they're kind of like winking at the audience that this works for this film. We're not saying in the next film somebody else is going to change it. And the precarious thing, I think, about wrapping a whole series around time travel in the TVA is setting up, these kind of consistent rules of right from now on, time travel works like this in the Marvel universe. It's not going to, because a future creative team are going to turn around and go, it's in our interest to deconstruct that, which is what they've been doing in comics for 40 years. So we're going to do it. So, and that's why actually getting bound up about continuity, which I love to a degree, an overarching narrative within both the Marvel Comics universe and the Marvel Cinematic universe is a fucking waste of everybody's time.
Yeah, I don't even.
It's going to change constantly.
I don't even care about continuity anymore. I don't.
Exactly. You can't. Because you've got to care. Kenric, you're right. You've got to care about good stories, right, mate?
That's it. Yeah. And honestly, the gender bending that they've been doing a lot lately, I don't even care about that anymore. At first, I went through different stages. Once I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. They're doing something that things. And then it was, it's kind of annoying because there was no need to really change it. Now it's like, oh my God, another one.
When we interviewed Tom Payer, he brought up the fact, I brought up something
about... Casey, you interviewed Tom Payer?
Yeah, he's super cool.
Right.
I love it for Spoiler Country.
So people watching this, go and check out Casey's interview with Tom Payer right now. Pause this, go and watch the Tom Payer interview, then come back.
Yeah. And
you'll thank me. It's all right, mate. I'm doing my bit for the Spoiler Country Massive. Come on.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.
So
great interview.
I brought up how they're gender bending characters in comics and stuff like that. And he said people bitch about that stuff all the time.
Yeah.
He's like, but would they buy a new character? Like if we didn't do stuff with that, make a different character, make a character a different gender or race or whatever, would people stick their necks out and invest their time in reading, this new character that people come up with? And he had some really good points.
I don't agree with that.
You don't agree?
No, because you wouldn't have Sandman. You wouldn't have so many characters if that was the attitude. Anything that came out in the 90s. Beyond.
I know, but Sandman's like almost 30 years ago.
You've got to remember, Sandman is in fact just an adaptation of something that already exists.
Yeah, Sandman's
not something new. It's
hold on. What I'm saying is this. Okay. Don't take it 30 years ago. Take it from 2010 on. If you didn't have that, if that was the attitude of every writer that went in, or DC or Marvel or Image, then how are you going to get any new character? Oh, well, no one's going to buy a new character. I don't want to invest in a new character. So fuck it. I'll just take this character, make him Black and Chinese and Cherokee, and then we'll make him a transgender, and then we'll do this, and hey, boom, we got a new character with the same power set, the same name, and the same background. They just happen to be a little bit different. Who fucking cares? You can do that all you want. You can have what if comics. You can gender bend all you want. You can race change all you want. I don't really care because it's a fucking comic book at the end of the day. But for God fucking sakes, don't make it the reason that you don't make new characters. I want new fucking stories, new fucking characters. That's why I read comic books from time to time, not because I want to read the 10,000th fucking Wolverine comic that I've already read. I want something new, and then to not take a chance. Then what's the point of any new artist or any new writer getting into it to try to do something different?
So you're missing a couple things here, Ken. I agree with you 100%. However, you got to remember, if you create something for Marvel and DC, you don't fucking own it, right?
Yes.
So why do you want to create something for a company
now than it was back in the 70s?
No, it was the same back then. You didn't own shit back then either. Just now people want to own it because they know they can get money out because all out there.
That's their retirement. They've seen.
So all the new
get
shit
fucked
comes
over.
out of indie stuff, not in the Marvel and DC, right? It's indie publishers. They can make deals saying, I own this character.
Yeah.
Like shit. Marvel and DC, they know if they make a new Superman, if they make Marvel makes a new Wolverine, or they make a new Spider-Man that's Black, Latino, they're going to sell it. People will buy it just because it's a Spider-Man character. So that is a guaranteed sale.
I understand that.
Marvel made a character called Silk, right? Silk is a new Asian female spider character. It took a while for her to catch on. They made Spider-Gwen. So they make variations of the spider character, which Marvel's been doing for years.
Also,
20 new characters. Oh, go ahead, Casey.
Keep your eyes peeled for my interview with Maureen Gu, writer of Silk. And she has a new mini coming out. It's like a 5-issue miniseries. And it's getting really, really good reviews.
Yeah.
And looks
amazing. I understand that they're going to do that with characters. And that makes perfect sense. I mean, if I'm Marvel, I'm doing that too. Why would you not do that? You know?
Right.
But my point is not them doing that. It's the fact that if they're only doing it because they don't want to take a chance on a new character.
It's not though. That's
what Town Payer said. That's exactly what he said.
Well, what I mean, regardless what he said, it's not the only reason.
If that's his argument for it, I don't think that holds water. That's all.
He had a lot more cogent arguments around that as well. That was one thing that I took away.
Sure. Yeah, you're 100% right, John. I'm not. This isn't an argument. This is what he said. This is what Casey said he said. And I think that if that's his reason to not create a new character, that doesn't hold water. You still do what you're doing because it makes, like you said, why would they not? They make money off of it.
Yeah, and a lot of writers and creators who work for Marvel and DC, they don't want to create new characters because they don't own them. They don't So why would they want to put money in creating something they're going to own? They're going to get nothing out of when they make the movie, and the movie makes $1 billion. They're going to get nothing, no cuts out of it. I mean, they'll get something because it's in the contract now, but it's so minute. It's like, what's the point?
Yeah. Well, it depends on who you are, though, too, right? Because I got a feeling Scott Snyder gets a lot more than a normal.
Yeah, but why?
Writer.
Why?
I don't know. Maybe because
why doesn't indie character get the same thing? Why isn't it if you create a character for a company, you perpetually own a third of it? Like that way, if DC or Marvel takes it on and makes $10 billion off a movie franchise, you as the creator are actually getting something out of it. Like that's the part that right there is the dirty stepchild of the comic world that I fucking hate.
Yeah, due to the amount of money Marvel's made off their movies, and if they gave their writers 0.05%, they'd be set for life.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? They don't even have to do a third. It could be like a minute amount that off the back end, and they'd be set.
And they're pulling so many stories from writers who are getting into retirement age now that would probably actually very much need that. So
I got something fun for you, Kenric, to kind of change the tone of this real quick.
Yeah.
You know how we're all talking about how this, and Casey's going to love this. Oh, Sumner, I'll wait for Sumner to get his headphones back in. Dude, you're waiting for Sumner, waiting.
There he is.
What's that rack behind you? Is that a comic rack that you haven't filled yet?
It's right here. Yeah, it's a comic rack. I'm going to put on the wall right here and put stuff in.
Nice.
But Sumner, I waited for you to come back for this, so you'll love this. So the three of us besides Casey, think that Loki is not necessarily a bad show, but it's not as good as it could be, and it's lacking, right? And Casey thinks it's good.
Correct.
Casey, do you know who agrees with you?
Who would that be?
Robert
Ben
Savinsky?
Shapiro.
No, Robert Savinsky from Bridging the Geekdoms loves this.
I thought you were going to say Ben Shapiro
That
or
says it
something.
all, mate. That says it all. Fucking hell. Also, I think a lot of people who aren't day-to-day MCU fans and aren't comic book fans like the show as well. So I think it's brought in a lot of people. I mean, I remember years ago when I went to see Batman Forever, which is, of the two Schumacher films, is easily my favorite because Batman and Robin's fucking unwatchable. And there were things in Batman Forever that I liked. I particularly liked Val Kilmer's whole performance, right? But one of the things I absolutely hated from the moment that I saw it until today is Jim Carrey's performance, which I think is it was at the peak of his stardom and it overbalances the whole film. Right.
Yeah.
And it's edited to just gently fucking wank him off throughout the whole thing. And he's obviously given too much stuff, but it was a massive success. But at the time, people who weren't comic book fans went to see Batman Forever, which was quite well reviewed, by the way, and came out going, an amazing performance by Jim Carrey. You know, and I used to run into non-comic book people all the time. Oh, I saw Batman Forever. I mean, fucking Jim Carrey was so good in that film. And I used to be in the middle of a conversation just thinking, Jim Carrey was fucking terrible in that film. You know, and I've thought that. And by the way, Jim Carrey is somebody I think can be amazing. The problem with him is he has such incendiary talent that if people just let him overbalance, he's not any good. But you watch him in the Truman Show, he's brilliant. You know, he's fucking incredible.
He's really good with drama too.
He's great with drama. I think he's better with drama than he is with comedy, because while he's an amazingly gifted comedian, you know, it's like when he's got that kind of talent that few other people have had. Robin Williams had it as well. But, you know, when you just let them riff and go off and off and off and you don't edit them, you know, what you're watching is incredible ability, but shorn of any kind of connection to dramatic construction. Or, you know, the project itself suffers in service of their virtuosity. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But this is exactly that. I think what we've got with Loki is Tom Hiddleston's performance as Loki is so good, is so accomplished, and he has such incredible charisma. I mean, he's one of the most charismatic people in the entire MCU, 13 years in the MCU. And, you know, of course, Downey is turbo charismatic. And as we've all talked about at great length, I fucking love Chris Evans' performance. I love Chris Hemsworth's performance. But
they're all good.
Tom Hiddleston's thing was like he came out of nowhere and owned that part and defined it to the point that he is Loki to the entire world and to every comic book fan who ever lived. Now, you know, there are still people who go, well, I love Chris Evans' performance as Steve Rogers, but I particularly like Steve Rogers the way he was written in these issues, right?
Right.
But what I think Hiddleston did was he came out of nowhere, basically being a British character actor, and he defined Loki to the point that nobody can think of Loki in any other way than the way he plays it. You know what I mean? That's how much he owns it. And so people want to watch him playing that part. So regular people who aren't into, you know, 40, 50 years of Marvel, 60 years of Marvel history, they see that show and they're like, it's more of what they really love. So everybody's just like, I think if you look at the demographics, it's not just everybody who's ever watched an MCU movie. It's fucking anyone. I know people who've got no interest in comic book movies, but they've watched Loki and enjoyed it.
Yeah, well,
do you know what I mean?
You're right. I mean, Tom Hiddleston's performance is so good. People were genuinely pissed when he dies in Endgame.
Oh, yeah.
They were like generally pissed off. Like, how can you kill him off?
Yeah. Don't kill Loki.
Yeah.
This is crazy. This whole thing has been a nuts. I don't want to say I don't know, man. I like I like the Loki show, and that's what's going to be from now on. It's the Loki show.
It's definitely. It's time to meet Loki. It's time to dress it right. It's time to raise the curtain on the Loki show tonight. Bum 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 bum. It's time to put on horns.
Orcs in space.
Orcs in space. Yeah, exactly. Asgardians in space.
Oh God, Casey. Knowing that how much you did enjoy it, what can they do better for episode 3, or what are you hoping to see that is done in episode 3? Let's put it that way.
So far, I've been fairly satisfied with it. in opposition to you guys, I'm really happy with the time travel aspect. I like that they are kind of showing the different aspects of Loki and getting more into, like, letting him really just kind of roll around in that character and feel it out all the way. A good portion of this show is almost devoted to rehabilitating that character. That's so they can use him elsewhere. And I wouldn't be shocked if some of this kind of spins off into the rumored Young Avengers series there that
mate, you fucking love the Young Avengers. I've noticed that it's a like regular motif with you. You just keep on like dragging it into the conversation from.
I swear,
like,
I think they're hinting at it.
What's that over there? It's the Young Avengers. Young Avengers.
And there was a Kid Loki in the Young Avengers comic, and I wouldn't be surprised if they go about making that happen in a roundabout way.
In their own, in the same nursery. Got like Captain America and Muppet Baby,
like Muppet Baby. Oh yeah, that would look like what the Scotty Young comics. You know what I mean? Yep. It looked like that. You know, to the whole thing. That's the point where I stop buying like fucking Marvel comics. I'm done with it at that point. If there's actually going to be a Baby Avengers show, I really don't want that to happen. Please don't. I know Kevin Feige's a big fan of this podcast. Please don't listen to us about this. Don't do it.
He's a huge
KF.
He's our number one fan. He you know, if you guys go back,
he's always tweeting.
I can't remember which episode, but one of the episodes, Kevin Feige actually calls in. You should.
Yeah. You should watch all of them because I can't remember either. But you'll definitely. It's an interesting moment.
It does happen. It might be on.
Totally happens.
It's either on
somewhere
or it's on Winter Soldier. One of those.
I can't remember. The Feige episode's great though. Anyway, check them all out. You'll find it if you listen to them all. Sorry, Casey, we didn't. You got fucking interrupted again.
No,
even though you had the lightsaber pen, even though you were doing the Casey Allen, kind of like
he does it. He's like,
Casey's even got himself a pen that glows now to make it that much more. Yeah, look, there it is.
I think it's my ring light kind of reflecting off of it because it's very.
Oh yeah, okay. Because when you take it back, I tell you what it looks like. It looks like a prop from Krypton in Superman the movie.
Yeah,
like it's just glowing.
The energy rods or whatever. But no, I see them kind of going towards a Young Avengers thing, but also this is going to
fucking hell, Young Avengers again.
But opening up the multiverse and allowing for other characters to come in. And I think this is also going to have a bit to do with the Multiverse of Madness film.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
So it seems like they're all kind of converging.
It has to. Yeah.
But
it has to.
Casey, where'd he go? The end of episode 2, Loki walks through the door. Agent Mobius is running towards him, calling out for him, dick in hand. Don't go.
I'll way to run.
And then and Loki just walks through the door and the door closes. What is the first scene we're seeing in episode 3?
Loki is in a muumuu, like a pregnancy gown, and he looks up at the camera and says, "Oh boy."
Oh. I thought he'd have Young Avengers.
Back to Quantum Leap.
Quantum Loki leap.
Oh boy. No, I have no idea. And that's what makes me happy about this show. So
Johnny, what do you think?
All right. So first, I want to talk about some theories I heard. What you guys think before I give my final thoughts?
Yeah.
So they mentioned a couple times how time moves differently in the TVA.
And that Young Avengers show up?
And Young Avengers show up and save the day. Yeah.
Well, they're the Tennessee Valley Authority, so of course time moves
differently.
Deep
so one of the theories is that the TVA is actually in the quantum realm. And that's why time moves differently there, because it's in the quantum realm, which is going to play a big key into next Ant-Man movie, which is Quintanium.
Real quick, did you guys did your jaws not drop when it showed the outside, in episode 1?
The sci-fi world? Yeah, that was awesome.
Oh my God, that was fantastic. Anyway, I love that, and it made me think of Kirby and
my jaw did not drop at that moment. It was good though. I liked it, but my jaw didn't drop. You know what I mean? It wasn't a jaw dropping moment, but I did think it was very good.
Don't take offense to that.
Say that again, mate.
I said Sumner's got a jaw of steel, so don't take offense. He's like,
now, mate, now I'm waiting. I'm trying to think. When was the last jaw dropping? There's a whole
episode
of Spoilerverse to talk about jaw dropping moments. I think
That's
like
right.
Hiddleston's shirt off. That was jaw dropping.
Right. That was the jaw dropping moment. You're right. That was the trouser dropping moment.
Yeah.
You know,
dropping the and ready to go. Yeah.
Okay, Johnny.
Sorry to interrupt you, John.
No. So that it's it's in the quantum realm possibly, or that's it's going to play into Ant-Man 2, and there's also a theory that one of the timekeepers is Kang, because he's suspected to be the bad guy in Quantanium.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Going to get there, and then there's also a huge theory about that Lady Loki is not Lady Loki; it's actually Enchantress. So
that could make sense.
With all that being said, I think the next scene is going to the beginning of the next episode when we see where Loki goes
in any movie.
What is that? No, she
hasn't been in any movie.
No.
Holy shit! That would make sense.
Yeah. So I think it makes a lot of sense. So if it's actually Lady Loki, I think that they're gonna show up in Asgard right before Ragnarok. If it's not Lady Loki and it's Enchantress, they're gonna show up somewhere else. I don't know where, but I think that's gonna be a tell, right? Wherever they show up is gonna try and lead us in the path of who we think she actually is. Because I don't think I don't think it's actually Lady Loki. I think it is Enchantress, because that would be what you would expect from Marvel is to twist it like that.
Can I say one thing? The one aspect I really did love was Loki figuring out where the variant is hiding and hiding against apocalypse times when everything's dying, so there's no chance of the timeline thing. I thought that was brilliant.
Oh yeah, that was brilliant. And then going to Pompeii. I love the Pompeii scene.
Yeah, the Pompeii scene was great.
It's like nothing matters.
You said in Enchantress, and that actually has some relevance in the comics during the Thor Disassembled story. After Heroes Reborn, there's like the Lady Thor and an Enchantress kind of tie-in. So yeah, I think you're onto something.
I love Lady Thor. That was such a great series.
Which we're going to see in the next Thor movie.
Yeah.
So it all ties together with Ant-Man 3, Thor 4, more Thors, and with this and multiple Multiverse of Madness.
And the one thing I love about Johnny is like once he gets a title in his head or anything like Fan 4 Stick or Thor 4 more Thors, it's like a dog.
Honestly, I think Thor 4 more Thors might be the greatest thing to ever come out of any Spoilerverse episode.
Lady Thor,
Yeah.
Ragnarok Thor. What's his name with a scuttlebutt? That guy.
What guy?
The horse guy. The horse
Better Ray
fucking
Bill.
dude. Better Ray Bill. And then you get Frog Thor.
Yeah.
4 Thor.
Yeah.
Yes. That's what the people want, Marvel.
We got to start doing that out all the time.
So
I tweeted that title out after Thor 3 came out. I was like,
it's absolute genius. It's absolute genius. Here's where I think they're going when they go through that door. I think they're going through to Earth 696, which is the Wedding Crashers universe. And they're going to arrive in the middle of the funeral scene, with Owen Wilson and with Will Ferrell. Yeah. And they're going to basically end up having an interaction with Will Ferrell and Owen Wilson from the Wedding Crashers, telling Will Ferrell not to be such a dick. They're then going to come back into the Marvel universe. Will Ferrell is going to come with them. And it's going to turn out that he's going to be the new Doctor Doom. That's where I think this is all going. And if that doesn't happen, I'll settle for wherever it goes being more interesting than the 2 episodes I've seen so far. Because so far, I think the issue with this show is that, those moments during WandaVision and with Falcon and Winter Soldier, we've gone, holy fuck, I don't believe they've done that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
We haven't got to that point yet.
No.
And there's certainly the Lady Loki. Everybody's going bananas about the Lady Loki reveal. I was just like, okay. If they're going to parlay her into being somebody else, that's cool.
Yeah.
But I'm waiting for the jaw-dropping moment, And the jaw-dropping moment for me wasn't actually the TVA planet, which looked very cool. But the things that make my jaw drop when I think about it are like narrative twists that I do not see coming. And so far, I've seen every beat of this show coming. And not in an omniscient kind of, I'm Kevin Feige, look, okay, fucking hell, got away. But I just haven't had a moment where I've gone, okay, now it's time to drop my trousers, get my right hand and start masturbating fiercely, because that was amazing. I haven't hit the masturbation point with anything in this show yet. And I hit masturbation point much earlier on WandaVision and on Falcon the Winter Soldier.
Obviously, Wanda.
I mean, by this point, I was 12 cum shots in on both of those shows. And, I'm 2 episodes into Loki and I'm still limp. Well, maybe it's because I'm getting old, but I think it's
one from the shirtless scene. At least one from the shirtless scene.
From the what?
Oh, well, okay. The shirtless, that was a semi from me, but a major masturbation trigger for most of my female friends.
Right. Well, so to go back to the Lady Loki thing, it's like and they're probably, they might not follow the comics at all, but if they are following the comics at all, it's also a huge tell, because in the comics, Lady Loki is just a mind-controlled Lady Sif, right?
Yeah.
And it's not that in the movie at all. It's someone totally different. So that might be a huge tell that this is actually the Enchantress.
I think Casey's on something. Yeah, I love that. I love that. That's given me renewed hope. This is like a new hope for me for Loki. It's kind of like show me a pathway through to me maybe enjoying. Hang on, wait a minute, Casey. Go.
Yeah. Also, one thing that kind of irritates me is in episode 1, they showed the stained glass window. And that's supposed to be the person that kind of tore up the monastery or whatever. They were talking to the little kid. I think they were in Italy. Did that not look like Mephisto?
It did.
That's exactly what I thought. That's exactly what I thought. Yeah.
How are they going to?
Surely that's got to have some relevance. Surely.
Are they just like fucking with us or what?
Well, one of the writers came out on WandaVision and they didn't even know who Mephisto was.
What?
They were talking about, I'll find the article, because they were talking about the fact that they thought it was awesome that people were giving all these, all these opinions and wondering what was going on, and that this whole Mephisto thing happened, and they were like, she's like, I was writing things, I didn't even know who Mephisto was.
I mean, that's rather depressing, actually, isn't it, Kenric? Because what I'm really waiting for is to see an iteration of Mephisto on screen within the MCU that's genuinely scary. I don't want them to do him until they figure out how to make him genuinely unnerving. Because
as an old guy in a suit, the old guy in the suit, the Angel Heart, the Devil's Advocate,
he needs to be a monster. He needs to be. He needs to look a lot. He needs to look a lot more like Tim Curry in Legend than like a human being. Now, Tim Curry in Legend, sadly, if Tim Curry hadn't had his stroke and was still like fucking, at the peak of his powers, Tim Curry playing Mephisto is perfect casting, right?
Oh yeah, that would be amazing.
That'd be amazing. Be amazing casting. Kenric, what's your thought? Where are they going?
I don't know. And I now hearing your what you found out about, the fan theories of Enchantress, or if it's Lady Thor going to Ragnarok, all that kind of stuff, I thought is brilliant. So now, I'm actually excited to see episode 3 to see only because of that.
Yeah.
But I honestly, I'm going to stay steadfast to my beginning of this conversation that I'm getting sick of the cliffhangers on every freaking episode.
That's a good point.
Do that. I need some really good character development and some good. I don't need jaw-dropping moments in every episode, because I just don't think that's possible.
Right. And I hope that if Lady Thor is actually Enchantress, I hope that they don't draw that out all season. Lady Loki's Enchantress. I hope they don't draw it out all season. I hope it's something like, hey, it's a quick, we find out next episode she's actually Enchantress, because there's only 6 episodes, so next episode is the halfway point, right? So we should find out now, not episode 6 and the final episode. I'm not really Lady Loki. I'm Enchantress. It should be like, tell us now, so we have a longer time to get used to this character and not have a big switch at the end.
Yeah, especially for people who don't know who Enchantress is, or don't know the comics. They only watch the shows. They only watch the movies. It's important to establish those characters so that they can get behind them.
Yeah.
Because Enchantress is a very intriguing character in a lot of ways. Because sometimes she's evil, sometimes she's good. Sometimes she's in love with Loki, and other times she's not. So she's a very intriguing character. I like her. Jack Schaefer, J-A-C. I think it must be short for Jacqueline, maybe. Jaqueline. WandaVision writer Jack Schaefer didn't even know about Mephisto until she started doing press, and people started asking her questions about Mephisto, and then she had to go back and look it up.
Who's Jack Schaefer, mate?
She's one of the writers on WandaVision.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can't expect, kind of writers who haven't read 40 years of comic books.
Dude, you're asking
every single lick.
somebody
Yeah.
to go through the
Yeah.
catalog of Marvel and understand all of it. And really, I don't know how many times Wanda and Mephisto was in the same book.
Well, and even then, if it's not relevant to their storyline, and it's not going to be relevant to what the writer's research, right?
Well, I would imagine that Kevin Feige goes, I have things in my mind. I'm bringing these writers. I want you guys to read these storylines.
Yep.
And if he's not mentioned, you can't blame her for that.
No, I don't.
But it's interesting. It's just sad for us because you feel like, oh, you would hope that they would have more comic fans in the writing room. I'm sure they had a ton.
I'm sure there are a ton, but yeah.
But yeah, it's just a little disheartening when you read it. But at the same time, like we just said, you can't expect somebody to know everything. I mean, dude, I didn't know who Agent Mobius was until I started watching this Loki. I had no idea who he was.
It's such a deep cut.
Yeah.
It's
That's what I like about it. I like the deep cut. Yeah.
There's a lot of deep cuts. So if you go through the episodes and look for like just Easter eggs, there's a ton of Easter eggs there. Of like, they throw in a ton of like the issues the characters first appeared in, like the what's her name, Mobius's boss, like her helmet says A23 when she first appeared in Avengers 23, shit like that.
That's cool.
Oh, cool.
That's true. Yeah, that's very good. I like that.
So it's a lot of Easter eggs. And Mobius is a deep cut, and I like it. So it's good. It's good stuff.
He's from Fantastic Four, correct? Like from Simonson's run of Fantastic Four?
No.
Correct. Yeah, that's right.
The Fantastic Four?
Yeah, Mobius and Mobius.
Other names.
Mobius M. Mobius, that's his name. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Fantastic Four number 353, 1991. As Mr. Tesseract in Fantastic Four annual number 27. As Mr. Ouroboros in She-Hulk number 3. As Mr. Paradox in She-Hulk number 3. Why so many AKAs? That's interesting.
For funsies, I don't know.
For funsies. All right, guys. I think we've come to that sad conclusion when we have nothing left to say on the Loki show today. But rejoice in the fact that we will be back next Saturday, or next week. I should just say that, because it could be Saturday, it could be Sunday, depending on when the episode goes out. But rejoice in the fact that we will be back, and Casey will reappear, and Johnny will reappear, and Mr. Sumner will reappear, and the Make My Marvel TV, the Loki show.
Yep.
Guys, later.
Hey, man, take care, everybody.
Spaghetti. And we're back.
That's right. We are back. Back in the saddle again. Well, I hope you guys really, really enjoyed that as much as we did making it for you. And if you like what you heard and you want to hear more, you got to go check out spoilerverse.com, because at spoilerverse.com, we have a plethora amazing directors and artists of all walks of life, and editors and writers. And oh my God, are you a lover of comic books like we are? Then there's so many amazing people from the comic book world over at spoilerverse.com. And I highly implore you to go there and check it out.
Yeah, and while you're there, you can check out all the other podcasts on our network, like Bridget and the Geekdoms and Funny Book Forensics and Haphazard Adventures and Nerds from the Crypt and so many more.
Misery
We put out
Point Radio.
episodes all the time. Go check all of them out. And check out all of the reviews and previews and articles we have going up every single day for you. Every day on spoilerverse.com for you to check out, to read, and to love, and to like, and to comment. We have a store link. If you want to help support the site, you can do it two ways. One, go to our Patreon, which is patreon.com/spoilercountry, or go to our store link in the middle of the site there and get a t-shirt, a face mask, a hoodie, something, look fly as hell, and help support the site when you do that, because we get $1 or $2. And, maybe you want to talk to us. If you do, you can do it obviously on all the socials, but if you go to scpod.us/discord, you can join our public Discord server and come chat with us all day long.
I couldn't say it better myself, dude.
There you go.
You just mouthed out a ton of information at once, and really, I hope you guys enjoy what you're hearing, because we're working our butts off to bring it to you.
We are.
I guess there's only one left thing. Yeah, I'm gonna go with it. There's only one left thing left to do.
What's that?
In an oceans of podcasts,
We are Cthulhu.
as Cthulhu compels you to
Open the mind.
and read more.
Spaghetti.